At the point when it's popularly believed Nigerians have moved on from the conservative and cumbersome lifestyle of the post office, well, the current administration feels the baby shouldn't just be thrown away with the bathwater. As the new Postmaster General flags off his reform of the Nigerian Postal Service in an institution where morale is at its lowest ebb, with allegations of financial leakages in the system, how would the newly introduced special anti-corruption postage stamps check corruption in the system? It's question time. Welcome to the program. I'm Benga Ashiru. In a bid to reposition Nigeria's postal service, the federal government moves to unbundle NIPOST by diversifying into 5 main units, which are the NIPOST e-commerce, transport, insurance, property development, and e-government. Is this a realistic target or just a wishful thinking? As comments from the postal agents are nothing to write home about. In a bid to set the record straight, Channels TV crew caught up with the Postmaster General of NIPOST, Barrister Bisi Adegbuyi. He is optimistic that federal government's reform initiative would make the Nigerian Postal Service a lifestyle for the 21st century business.
What internet has taken away from us, it has given us more than that. As you know, postal services rest on the tripod of physical mail movement, digitalization, and financial services. Therefore, what we have suffered in terms of mail reduction has been adequately compensated by the resurgence in the exponentially growing e-commerce. That is running into billions of naira, which NIPOST is set to benefit therefrom. In the United States, and indeed some other advanced countries where internet penetration is even greater than what we have here, postal services still exist. What we need to do is, because of disruptive technology, we must innovate, we must diversify, and that is what NIPOST is set to do.
I don't seem to get this now. You are introducing a cutting-edge technology into a workforce that paints a classic picture of a completely conservative civil service in Nigeria. How do you intend to achieve this?
Who says civil servants cannot be trained? It's incorrect to assume that, yes, because it's a civil service driven organization for now, it will be practically impossible to embrace technology. I don't share that view, and based on what I've seen, and contrary to the narrative out there, there are people who can do the job in NIPOST. What is required is the right leadership, the right atmosphere, and then the need for us to reform, the legal framework of, by that I'm talking about laws establishing NIPOST and all of that. We have people that can do the job. We have to train them, train and retrain them. Yes, I know that it's been civil service driven for a long time. Yes, it's also a fact that NIPOST is a microcosm of Nigeria, where infrastructures have not been what they should be. I mean, cutting edge infrastructure and technology, they are not there. But we are not unmindful of the fact that for us to compete favorably with our competitors out there, we must deploy technology. We must embrace ICT, and that's what we are set to do.
Would you be considering concessioning of NIPOST?
Clearly, there's no running away from the fact that NIPOST must be restructured. I'm sure you're aware that plans are underway. Proposals have been sent by the Minister of Communications to the appropriate authority on issues concerning and regarding restructuring. We're looking at the creation of 6 special business units in order for us to be able to diversify. Because of the fact that we have our presence all over Nigeria, we have abundant real estate infrastructures just lying there. Because of our reach, because of our network, NIPOST must be part of logistics and warehousing business. We must benefit tremendously from the exponentially growing e-commerce business. We must go into warehousing, as I've said, financial services, financial inclusion. A lot of our people are in the rural areas, and as you know, we have our presence predominantly in the rural areas. We need to get the unbanked. People who don't have access to the banking system to be part of it. And because of the aforementioned comparative advantage of NIPOST, we have our presence in all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. Not all banks can afford to go into that because of the cost implication. So we are in a position where we can advantageously carry out all of these. All this is talking about post bank, agents bank, and all of that. These are things that we would go into.
Is this a form of unbundling of some sort?
Well, what we are going to do when the postal reform bill that is before the National Assembly becomes law is to corporatarize NIPOST. And by that I mean commercialization of NIPOST. Run NIPOST as a commercial venture. It is not for a joke, or it's deliberate, that the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of Nigeria decided to appoint somebody from the private sector to come and head NIPOST at this critical junction. It is deliberate. It is a need for us to run it purely on sound principles of business. Of course, there are